It's been quiet for a while, not the good kind of quiet, the other kind, the kind that doesn't feel like rest, more like distance, like the line is open, but nothing's coming through. And I keep listening the way you listen when you're not sure if you're on the right channel or if something's wrong on the other end. I remember what it sounded like. That's the thing about this silence, it's not like I've never heard it. I know what it sounds like when you speak, not always words, sometimes just a no, a settling, a sense of direction that didn't come from me. I know what that's like, and I know this isn't it. And the absence of what I know is its own kind of ache. Oh, I've been doing all the things you do when you're waiting for something to come through, sitting still, reading, praying with work and without them, waiting in the quiet until the quiet stopped feeling productive and started feeling just quiet. I'm still here, still waiting, still listening, just saying so honestly. I'm not angry about it. I wanna be clear about that. I know you're here. I know presence and voice are the same thing. I'm not questioning the presence, I just miss the voice, the specific intimacy of it, the sense of being spoken to, not just waited with. I miss that tonight. Lord, I need to hear your voice again. Not a sermon, not theology, just you speaking into whatever this silence is, the way you used to. Lord, I need to hear your voice again. I don't need it to be loud, I don't need it to be clear in ways I can prove to anyone, just something, just enough to know the line is still open. I think about Elijah, 40 days of walking, the cave, the long silence before, the still small voice, how much he must have needed that voice by the time it came. How different it must have sounded after everything that had happened. I think I understand him tonight. Not his greatness, just his need, just the particular hunger of a man who knows what the voice sounds like and is sitting in the silence between the last time and the next. So I'm staying in the cave, Lord, not going anywhere, not filling this with substitutes for what I actually need, not talking myself into being okay with the silence when what I need is the voice. I'm just saying it honest, I miss it, I need it, I'm asking for it, not demanding, not setting a timeline, just asking the way you ask someone you trust for something you can only get from them. Come speak to me, Lord, when you're ready. I'll be right here, listening. Lord, I need to hear your voice again. In whatever form it comes, in whatever form it comes, the knowing, the settling, the thought that doesn't feel like mine. Oh, the peace that arrives in the middle of a sentence I was praying and changes the quality of everything after it. Lord, I need to hear not going anywhere, I'm staying right here in this quiet with my face turned toward you, and my ears open and everything in me still believing that the silence is just the silence before, not the silence instead of just the silence before. And I'll wait here, Lord, for however long it takes. I'll wait, still here, still listening. Nothing yet, but still here. Still turn toward you, still believing. The voice comes back, it always comes back. Speak, Lord, when you're ready, I'll be right here, listening, still listening. I've been sitting with something that arrived quietly, the way the important things usually do. A thought that didn't announce itself just settled in while I was in the middle of something else entirely. What if the silence wasn't silence? What if I just didn't know how to hear it yet? I started looking back the way I've been doing a lot lately, going through the quiet seasons with different questions than I used to ask. Not where were you, but how were you speaking that I wasn't hearing? And the answer started coming faster than I expected. The book that fell open to the exact page, the conversation I didn't plan that said the exact thing I've been asking for without telling anyone I was asking. The dream I dismissed, the thought I attributed to myself, that was too specific to have been only mine. The door that closed so firmly, it had to have been a hand and not just circumstance. All of it, language, all of it, you're speaking in the silence. I was calling silence. I wasn't listening for that kind of voice, that's the honest answer. I was listening for something more direct, more unmistakable, something that didn't require interpretation or faith or the willingness to believe that ordinary things could carry extraordinary messages. I was waiting for a voice that didn't need me to lean in. Yours always asked me to lean in, even in the silence. You were speaking in the margins and the unexpected, in the things I called coincidence, because I wasn't ready to call them what they were. Even in the silence, you were speaking in the silence, was never really silence. It was just a language I was still learning. I think about how long it takes to learn a language, how at first it sounds like nothing, like random sound without meaning, and then slowly patterns, and then words you recognize, and then one day you're listening and you understand more than you don't. That's where I am, finally understanding more than I don't, finally hearing what was always being said. So I'm going back through the quiet years with new ears, listening to the silence I thought was empty for what was actually in it. And I keep finding the same thing, speech, your speech, and the time, and the things, and the people who showed up, and the closings and openings, and the thoughts that arrived uninvited and turned out to be exactly right. You were speaking the whole time, I did when I was waiting for a voice that sounded like what I expected, instead of listening for the one that was actually there. You were speaking, Lord, the whole time. I'm just now learning to hear it, listening different now. Same quiet room, but I'm not waiting for the silence to end anymore. I'm listening inside of it for what's already there, for the language I'm still learning, for the voice that never stopped, that was never actually stopped. Even in the silence, you were speaking, you were always speaking. I hear you, Lord, I'm starting to really hear you. There were seasons when the sky felt like closed hands, not hostile, just closed. Like whatever channel I'd been receiving on had gone quiet without explanation. And I kept tuning, kept adjusting, kept checking if something was wrong on my end, and nothing was wrong. The sky was just very quiet. I didn't handle it well at first. The quiet has a weight you don't expect until you're in it, until you've gone enough days without the thing you didn't know you were depending on to feel oriented. And then it's gone, and you realize how much of your footing was built on something you can't see when it withdraws. I kept going anyway. That's the thing I wanna say about the quiet seasons. I kept going, not always well, not always with faith that looked like faith to anyone watching, but forward, somehow forward. And I couldn't always explain what was keeping me moving when the sky had nothing to say. I think I know now. Something was holding, not speaking, not directing, not answering the questions I kept bringing to a sky that stayed quiet, just holding right underneath everything, keeping what was fragile from breaking completely, keeping what was moving from stopping entirely, a holding that didn't need to announce itself to be real. When heaven felt quiet, you held my heart, not with words, not with answers, just with hands that didn't let go, while the sky stayed closed. When heaven felt quiet, you held my heart, and I made it through every silent season, not because I was strong enough, but because something was holding me. That was, I think about what holding looks like when it's quiet, how it doesn't feel the same as presence that speaks, how it's easier to miss, how you can be held and not feel held, how the evidence of it is often only visible in retrospect, in the not falling, in the still being here, in the waking up to another day you weren't sure you had the reserves for. That's holding, that's what holding looks like when it's quiet. So the quiet seasons were never empty. I wanna say that for anyone who's in one right now. When heaven feels quiet, something is still working, something is still holding. Not visibly, not in ways that feel like enough on the hard days, but enough to keep you here, enough to keep you moving, enough to keep you moving, enough to make it to the other side of the silence. Still standing, still breathing, still here. That's not coincidence, that's holding. That's the hands that don't let go, even when they don't speak. When heaven felt quiet, you held my heart through every day. The sky stayed closed through every night. I listened for something and heard nothing but my own questions going unanswered. You held my heart, not loudly, not in ways I could point to and say there. That's the proof, that's the proof. Just in the holding, in the staying, in the quiet, faithful work of hands that never released, but they promised to keep when heaven felt quiet. You held my heart, and I am here, and I am held, and the quiet didn't take me, because the holding was always louder than the silence. I just needed time to understand that heaven's still quiet tonight. Not gonna pretend otherwise, but I know something now I didn't know before. Quiet doesn't mean empty, quiet doesn't mean the hands let go. You're holding, Lord, same as always. In the quiet, through the quiet, right here in the silence, holding, still holding, always holding. It wasn't loud, I wanna say that first, because I think people expect the life-changing things to be loud, to arrive with some kind of signal that this is the moment. Pay attention, this one matters. It didn't come like that. It came the way the most important things usually come, quietly, almost missable. I almost missed it, that's the honest part. I was in the middle of something ordinary, not praying exactly, not in any posture that looked like I was ready to receive anything. Just going about the unremarkable business of a day that didn't know it was about to mean something, and then something small, specific, not mine. I can't fully explain what it said. Some things aren't meant to be translated into the kind of language that works in conversations like this one. It was between me and the one who said it, but I can tell you what it did. It reached somewhere nothing else had been able to reach, and something that had been closed for a long time opened just like that, just from a whisper. I've been thinking about that ever since, how small it was, how little it required, how all those months of asking for something large enough to move what needed moving, and it was moved by something I almost didn't hear a whisper. Had an ordinary moment on an unremarkable day that changed the direction of everything that came after it. Your whisper changed everything, not a sermon, not a miracle anyone else could see, just a word in a quiet moment that landed in the exact place it needed to land. Your everything. I've been different ever since. Not loudly different, just different in the way that starts somewhere deep and works its way out slowly into everything else. I think about how the most important things in my story rarely announce themselves. The turning points that look like ordinary days. From the outside, the moments that mattered most, that nobody would have circled on a calendar. A whisper in a quiet room, a thought that wasn't mine, a small specific something that found the one place in me that needed finding. That's how you tend to work, not in the earthquake, in the still small voice after. So I'm paying attention to the small things now, the quiet moments I would have moved past before, the thoughts that arrive at odd hours and feel too specific to be random, the gentle nudges I spent years explaining away. It's just my own mind doing what minds do. I know better now. I know the difference between a thought that's mine and one that arrived from somewhere else. Your whispers have a texture nothing else has. I know it now. I'm listening for it now. Oh, your whisper changed everything. And I don't say that as a figure of speech. I say it as the most accurate description I have of what happened in that ordinary moment on that ordinary day. When something small came from somewhere I can't point to and landed in me and moved what nothing else had been able to move. Your whisper changed everything, and I will spend the rest of the story leaning toward the quiet, listening for the small things, paying attention to the moments that don't announce themselves. Because I know now, that's where you tend to speak. In the whisper, in the quiet, in the still small voice. It changes everything, it touches quiet in here tonight. Listening different. Not thunder, not for something I can't miss. For the whisper, for the small specific something that has your texture and nobody else's. Speak, Lord, however small, however quiet. I'm leaning in, I won't miss it this time. I won't miss it. I won't miss it. I was closer to the edge than I told anyone. That's the truth. I've been sitting with long enough now to finally say out loud, not the edge people worry about when they hear the word edge. Just the other kind, the quiet kind, where you stop expecting things to change, where you start making your peace with a smaller life than the one you started with. I had almost finished the paperwork on giving up. Not dramatically, just the quiet administrative work of a man who has revised his expectations downward enough times that the revising starts to feel like wisdom, like finally being realistic, like arriving at the truth everyone else probably already knew. This is as far as it goes. I was almost there, almost signed off on the smaller version, almost almost convinced myself that wanting more was the problem and not the ceiling I'd accepted. And then in the middle of the almost, something came through, not loudly, not in a way that interrupted anything, just arrived the way a thought arrives that doesn't feel like yours. I can't tell you exactly what it says. Some things don't survive the translation into this kind of language, but I can tell you what it did. It found the place where I'd almost finished giving up, and it spoke into that place. And the giving up suddenly a competition, and for the first time in a long time, the competition won. Then I heard your voice, not a shout, not a sign anyone else would have seen, just something specific in the quiet that reached what nothing else had reached. I almost gave up. Then I heard your voice, and the almost stayed an almost. And I'm still here, and the story kept going, because a voice came through right before I closed the book. I think about the timing of it, how close I was, how a day later might have been a different story, how whatever it was that came through arrived in the exact moment it needed to arrive. And not a day early, not casual about the timing, right there, right then in the moment that needed it. That's not accident, that's not coincidence, that's a voice that knows where you are and when you need it, and doesn't miss by even a day. So I'm here tonight because of a whisper, because something came through when I had almost stopped listening, when I had almost decided that listening was its own kind of hope I couldn't afford anymore. And it found me there in the almost stopped listening, and the nearly giving up in the place I'm not proud of, but need to tell the truth about, because somebody needs to hear that the voice comes even there, especially there. It comes especially there. I almost gave up. Then I heard your voice, and I want anybody who is in their own almost right now to hear this. The voice comes, I don't know when, I don't know what it will sound like for you, but it comes, it came for me at the last possible moment, right before the almost became the did. And I'm here, still in the story, because a voice knew exactly where I was and came exactly when I needed it. I almost gave up. Then I heard your voice, and almost was as far as it got. Still here, Lord, because of that moment, because of what came through when I had almost stopped expecting anything to come through. Thank you for the timing, for not being a day late, for knowing exactly where I was and speaking into it before I finished the paperwork on giving up. I heard your voice, and the almost stayed an almost, and I'm still here, still in the story, still here. I'd been talking for a long time. That's the honest thing to say first. Bringing my words to a conversation that needed me to stop talking for a while and let the other side have the room. I didn't know that, or maybe I knew and wasn't ready. Either way, I kept talking. I got quiet that night, not by discipline, by exhaustion. Just ran out of what I'd been bringing. The words, the requests, the same questions I'd been cycling through for long enough that even I had stopped expecting new answers from the asking. So I stopped, not intentionally, just stopped and waited to see what happened in the stopping. What happened was different than anything that had happened while I was talking. The quiet had a quality to it, not empty, occupied, like a room that's been waiting for you to stop moving, so it can show you what's been in it. The whole time something was in it, something had been in it. The whole time I'd been filling it with everything else. I don't know how to describe what listening to you actually feels like. It's not exactly hearing, more like receiving, like something landing somewhere specific inside you that you didn't direct it to, like being read instead of reading, being known instead of knowing. That's what happened when I finally stopped and let the room say what it had been waiting to say. The night I finally listened was not the night I planned to. It was the night I had nothing left to say. The night I finally listened. Everything I'd been talking over got a chance to come through, and it came through, all of it right into the first quiet I'd given it in a long time. I think about all the nights before that one, how much I brought, how little space I left for anything to come back, how I mistook the feeling of silence for the practice of prayer, how I thought more words meant more faith, how I confused the talking with the connecting. Prayer isn't just talking, I know that now, I knew it before, but that night I finally understood it in a way that changed how I pray. So I come different now, not without words, just with fewer and with more room after them, more willingness to let what I said land somewhere and wait to see what comes back. More trust that the conversation is actually two-directional, that there's something on the other end that is things to say. If I stop filling every available space with what I have to say, I come different now because of that night, the night I finally gave the other side the room it needed. The night I finally listened changed how every other night sounds. I hear things now I was talking over before. The night I finally listened, I understood something I've been missing. And all the nights I thought I was praying, but was mostly just talking into a room. I never got quiet enough to hear the answer in. The answer was there, it was always there, waiting for me to stop filling the room with questions long enough to receive what had been trying to reach me the whole time. I listened, Lord, finally that night, and I've been different every night since. Quiet tonight, not talking much, just listening. The way I learned that night, the night I stopped and let the room what it had, it still has things to say. You always have things to say. I'm just finally giving you the room to say them. Listening, Lord, still listening, the way I should have all along. I doubted that for a long time, not loudly, just that quiet background doubt that doesn't announce itself, but colors everything it touches. The wondering if the words were landing anywhere, if the ceiling was just a ceiling, if the silence that followed was evidence of what I suspected, but didn't want to confirm. I kept praying anyway. That's the thing I want to say about those years, even with the doubt in the background, even with the uncertainty about whether anything was getting through. I kept going, not always with faith that felt like faith, sometimes just with the motion of it, the habit of turning towards something, even when the turning didn't feel productive. Oh, I don't think that was wasted. I'm starting to believe none of it was wasted. Not the polished prayers, not the broken ones, not the ones that barely made it past my own chest, not the ones that were just a direction with no words attached, not the ones I said in parking lots with the engine running, not the ones I said at 3 a.m. into a ceiling I wasn't sure was a ceiling at all. I think they all reached. That's what I'm sitting with tonight. Every single one, the ones that felt strong, the ones that felt like nothing, the ones I said without believing they were going anywhere, they were going somewhere, they were always going somewhere. Every prayer reached heaven, not one lost, not one that dissolved into the air before it got there. Every prayer reached heaven, the eloquent ones and the ones that were just a name, just a need, just a man turning towards something with whatever he had, all of it, all the way there, every single time. I think about the prayers I was most sure went nowhere, the ones said in the depths of not believing they'd be received, the desperate ones, the angry ones, the ones that were more accusation than petition, the ones that were just crying with no words attached. I think those might have been the ones that landed loudest, the ones with nothing left in them but honesty, nothing left but the raw material of a person who'd run out of the proper language and was left with only the truth of where they were. So nothing was wasted. That's what I keep coming back to. Not one morning, not one wordless night, not one attempt that felt like failure from the inside. Every turning toward you, every reach and every breath offered in your direction, when breath was all there was to offer. All of it reached, all of it was received by someone who wasn't grading the quality of the delivery, who was just receiving whatever came, however it came, whenever it came. All of it received. times, especially those always, every single one. All the way there, all the way received. Not one lost, not one still praying, Lord. Different than before, not worried anymore about whether it reaches. I know it reaches. Every word, every silence offered in your direction. Every breath, every turning, all of it, all the way there, all the way to you. Every prayer reached heaven, every single one. Thank you for receiving what I was never sure was worth sending. It was always worth sending. It always reached. It always will. I complained about it more than I should have. The waiting, the way things moved at a pace that never matched what I thought the situation required. I had my own timeline, reasonable, logical, built around my understanding of what needed to happen. And when you had a different one, I didn't like yours, not at the time. I wanna be honest about that. The delays felt like indifference. The slow arrivals felt like I wasn't being taken seriously, like the urgency I felt wasn't being factored in, like something important was being treated as less important than I knew it to be. I was frustrated, more than frustrated some days, always. But I'm looking back now at the time and all of it, the things that came when I'd stopped expecting them, the doors that opened after I'd stopped knocking on them, the answers that arrived in seasons I didn't know I needed to be in first before I could receive them. And I'm seeing something I couldn't see from inside the waiting. The timing was right every time, even when it didn't feel like it. Especially when it didn't feel like it. I would've taken things too early, that's what I understand now. Would've walked into rooms before I was ready for what was in them. Would have received things before I knew how to hold them. The waiting wasn't indifference, the waiting was preparation for me, not for the circumstances, for me. Your timing was perfect, not comfortable, not what I would have chosen, but perfect in the way that only looks perfect from the other side of it. Your timing was perfect. Every door that opened late, every answer that took longer than I thought I could wait, every season that stretched past what I thought was my limit. Perfect, all of it in your hands. Perfect. I think about the things that came early once, the times I got what I wanted when I wanted it, and I look at what I did with those things, how I wasn't ready, how the timing exposed what was missing in me that more waiting would have addressed. I don't ask for early anymore, I ask for ready, and I trust you to know which waiting is making me ready. So I'm taking back every complaint, every moment I sat in the waiting and called it abandonment. Every time I looked at the clock and decided you had forgotten, every prayer I prayed from a place of why is this taking so long, when what I should have been praying every delay, every extension, every moment. The answer didn't come when I thought it should, and came exactly when it needed to. Perfect, not my perfect, yours, which is the only kind that actually works for a story as long and complicated and beautiful as this one. Your timing was perfect, and I trusted for whatever's still coming, for every answer still on its way, for every door still closed that will open at exactly the right moment. I trust your timing, Lord. Finally, completely, I trust it. Still waiting on some things that hasn't changed, but the waiting feels different now. Less like something being done to me, more like something being done for me. Your timing was perfect, Lord, in everything behind me. I trusted for everything ahead, still waiting but trusting, both at the same time. Your timing, always perfect, always. The miracle hasn't come yet. I wanna say that right at the start, so nobody misunderstands what this song is about. The thing I've been asking for, the answer I've been waiting on, the change that would make the before and after obvious to anyone watching. Still waiting, still not here. But something else came, that's what I'm sitting with. Something arrived that I wasn't expecting and didn't ask for, because I didn't know it was available separately from the thing I wanted. I thought they came together, the peace and the miracle. I thought peace was the reward you received after the answer showed up. Turns out I had the order wrong. The peace came first, quietly, without announcement, without the circumstances doing anything to justify it. Everything's still the same on the outside, and this inside, this settling, this something that took up residence in the place where the anxiety used to be, and just stayed without the miracle, before the miracle, regardless of the miracle. I don't fully understand it, I've stopped needing to. I just know that whatever I was waiting for to feel okay, I feel it. And the thing I was waiting for hasn't arrived, and that means the peace isn't coming from where I thought it was coming from. It's coming from somewhere that doesn't depend on outcomes, that doesn't require circumstances to cooperate before it shows up. Your peace came before the miracle, before the answer, before the change I've been asking for longer than I wanna stay. Your peace came before the miracle, and I'm sitting in it tonight with the miracle still on its way, or maybe not coming, I don't know. But the peace is here, and it turns out the peace was what I needed most. I think about what I've been asking for, how specific I was about the form the answer needed to take, the particular miracle, the exact change, the resolution that would make the story finally feel resolved. And you sent peace instead of first And I'm starting to wonder if the peace is actually the bigger miracle, the harder one, the one that required more than anything the other miracle would have required. Because circumstances change, but peace, that doesn't depend on circumstances. That's something else, that's something only you can make. So I'm receiving it tonight, not as a consolation prize, not as something to appreciate, while I keep waiting for what I really wanted as its own gift, its own complete, sufficient, inexplicable gift. Peace before resolution, calm before clarity, rest before the answer. That's not less than what I asked for. That might be more, that might be the greater kindness, the gift that says I trust you with the waiting. I'll give you what you need for the in-between. Here, peace before the miracle. Take it, it's enough. Your peace came before the miracle, and I want to remember that for every future season of waiting, for every time I'm tempted to believe that peace is the reward at the end, instead of the companion for the road. Your peace came before the miracle, which means I don't have to wait for the miracle to be okay. I can be okay now in the waiting, in the not yet, in the still asking, because the peace is already here, already in the room, already in me, before the answer comes. And if the answer takes longer than I want, I have what I need for the waiting. Your peace right here before the miracle. It's enough, Lord. It's actually enough. Still waiting, still waiting, still at peace. Both true at the same time. I didn't think that was possible, now I know it is. Your peace came before the miracle, Lord, and I'm sitting in it tonight, grateful, genuinely grateful for the peace that didn't wait for the circumstances to deserve it. It just came, same as you always do. Before I finished asking, before I knew it was available, it just came, and it's enough. I've done a lot of waiting, more than I planned for when this all started, more than the version of me at the beginning would have agreed to. If someone had shown me the full length of it up front, I would have asked for a different arrangement, shorter, more manageable, something I could see the end of from the beginning. But nobody showed me the full length of it. You never do, and I understand that now in a way I didn't then. Because if I had seen how long the waiting would be, I would have started negotiating before I started trusting. And negotiating from a place of fear is not the same as trusting from a place of faith. So you showed me one step, then the next, then the next, and I waited, not always well, not always with the kind of patience that looks good in a testimony. Sometimes with complaints, sometimes with the particular the frustration of a man who knows what he needs and can see that the need is not being met on the schedule he would have chosen. But I waited through all of it. I waited and you never failed. That's the sentence I keep arriving at when I look back over the full length of the waiting. Not once, not a single season that ended with you having failed to do what you said you would. Slow sometimes, different from what I expected sometimes, but never failed. Not once I waited. You never failed. That's the whole testimony. Everything else is just details. I waited. You never failed. Through every season that went longer than expected, through every answer that arrived in a form I didn't recognize at first, through every test of whether I would keep waiting or give up on the waiting and call it wisdom. I waited. You never failed. I think about what faithfulness looks like over a long time. It doesn't always feel the same from season to season. There are seasons it feels very close, and seasons it feels like a theory you're holding on to without evidence. But when you look back over the whole length of it, the faithfulness was consistent in every season, even the ones where it felt like a theory, especially those. So this is what I know now, after all the waiting, after all the seasons that tested whether I would hold on or let go. You don't fail, that's not a sentiment, that's a conclusion drawn from evidence, from the full record of everything I was afraid wouldn't come through. It came through every time, different sometimes, late by my clock sometimes, but through, always through. I never failed, not once. In all the waiting, not once. I waited. You never failed, and I want that to be the sentence I carry into every waiting room that's still ahead. Every season, I don't know the length of yet. Every prayer, still looking for its answer. I waited, you never failed. That's the track record, that's the only evidence I need to keep trusting the waiting. I'm still in it, you didn't fail in any season behind me. You won't fail in any season ahead. I waited, you never failed, and I will keep waiting, and you will keep not failing. That's the whole agreement, that's all it's ever been. Still waiting on some things, same as always, but different now, because I know how this goes. I wait, you don't fail, that's the pattern, that's always been the pattern. I trusted, Lord, all the way.